Good afternoon, this is Rich Nelson with Allendale, covering the wrap-up commodity comments here for Tuesday. This is March 2nd, 2010. In terms of action on the outside markets, won't get into too much detail here today, only mentioning the fact that U.S. dollar down 12. We did see a lot of support coming for the grains later on during the day, with crude up 98 cents. Dow was up a moderate 20 in the last quote here. As far as overall closes on the grains, you'll notice obviously some very mixed closes here. Corn down 1, beans up 1, and wheat down 3/4. And these are actually some last trades, not the settlement prices. In terms of action, one thing we can point out is the fact that we did see some, where yesterday may have been a rejection type of day of higher prices, today was certainly a rejection day of lower prices. Corn at one point was down about 5 3/4 cents, and it did come back here by the close. Same type of closes here for beans as well as wheat here. In terms of news, one thing we'll point out as far as the corn goes, Allendale has released our estimates for next week's supply-demand report. And this one will, for corn at least, we will see a minor revision from USDA on old crop production. And they also will make some revisions on as they always do, on usage numbers. We're expecting a drop in corn production of about 68 million bushels. We do expect USDA to also tighten things up a little bit with about a 20 million bushel increase in ethanol usage. And one thing we will point out is demand for exports has still been kind of weak. We are lowering our export demand number here. The net result, though, is still lower ending stocks coming on next week's report, down from 1.719 down to a 1.671 billion bushel. The numbers themselves may not be that exciting, but the point is we are dropping corn below that magic 1.7 billion bushel mark. Instead of 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we were talking maybe reaching up to 1.8. Now we're in the 1.6s. So that's a simple point in terms of the psychology right now of this market here. Over on the bean side, in terms of news, we do have two small points we can note. This was actually out yesterday, the first piece of news. Brazil, 26% harvested. This is certainly above their normal 18% last year pace that they put in last year at this point. So we are still running a very good pace for Brazil. And as I said, this news was out actually yesterday afternoon. In terms of other thing we can speak of, which was out during the trading session today, the fact that the Senate has or is including biodiesel tax credit back in one of the recent jobs and financial issues that bills that they're trying to push through here. So the idea that biodiesel may come back with this tax credit is certainly something that we'll be watching here next few days here. In terms of other news we can speak of course, we do have our estimates out for this for the soybean numbers as well in the supply-demand report. For the U.S. side, we view a small drop in ending stocks, down from 210 million bushels to about 190 million bushels. Right now, we're making that adjustment based on a very strong domestic U.S. crush pace. We're leaving USDA's estimate for exports unchanged right now here. So a slight drop in terms of ending stocks, and kind of like with the corn, we're dropping below a kind of a psychological place, moving below that 200 million bushel mark. In terms of world stuff, we are leaving USDA's estimate on Brazilian soybean production unchanged at 66 million metric tons. We are, however, adding 1 million metric ton to Argentina's soybean crop, pushing them up to a 54 million metric ton crop. So that is also a little bearish here on this side. So as far as the corn, you can't argue that maybe between weather as well as this ending stock issue here, maybe a little supportive news the next few months. For beans, more of a mixed situation. The fact that while U.S. ending stocks are tightening up, we are seeing still some very large crops in South America. And as I mentioned, we're also adding 1 million metric ton to Argentina's number for soybean production. Over on the wheat side, the changes that we see USDA making, we're going to drop the ending stocks a small amount on the wheat, from 981 million bushel to 966, and that change is made due to some better than expected exports in the past 4 weeks or so. In terms of other news out on the wheat, actually was a little supportive. Kansas individually said that their winter wheat crop, the rating last month was about a 56% good to excellent. We did see that drop to 53% good to excellent. The Illinois, which is a little surprising, dropped their crop from 38% good to excellent down to only a 28% good to excellent. So it's a pretty steep drop for Illinois. Over on the livestock side, a little better day for cattle, obviously up about $1 or $2. Part of the gains are made on this whole box beef issue here. The idea that this 150 level on wholesale beef prices is kind of acting like a little resistance here for them, maybe a little ceiling. Maybe we're seeing some pushback from the retail side saying, yeah, prices can and will be higher this year, but at some point there has to be some reason put in here. It was interesting to note on this morning's midday beef report the fact that choice and select were actually higher here today. So that is something we'll be watching closely. Another interesting stat about this live cattle trade itself. Though the April didn't make anything significant regarding today's move, we will point out that the June and every other contract, as far as all the other deferreds, did post in new highs on this uptrend. So keep that in mind. Take a look at the nearby April, then look at the deferreds June on out. You'll see two different chart looks on the charts there. So might be some of interest there. Over on the hog side, down 45 cents for today's close, and that is a settlement, that is the last trade, not a settlement. In terms of key issues there, this market's simply waiting right now, and they're waiting for solid news on this U.S. poultry issue as negotiators are in Russia. An updated story came out midday today pointed out that, you know what, we do not have any solid agreement yet with Russia. So officially the 2-day talks are done. However, they are going to leave a negotiator to left in Moscow. Hopefully in the next few days they can work out some final technical points and maybe come up with a deal here by the end of this week. So while the 2-day talks have failed to give anything substantial, the U.S. side is certainly still keeping an optimistic viewpoint on getting some type of deal done maybe by the end of this week. So we'll certainly keep you informed as far as any news we get with this one here. As far as other things we can speak of, we of course are in Allendale and Storm Lake, Iowa here today, doing our speeches and covering this fantastic tour we've been doing now to the country. As far as other places this week, I'm going to run down a quick list. Burlington, Iowa, Ames, Iowa, Iowa City. As far as Nebraska side, we've got Grand Island, we've got Lincoln. As far as Illinois, we also have a meeting coming up for Highland, Illinois, my old stomping ground and hometown. That's located just near the St. Louis area here. So we do have quite a few meetings lined up for people to come and take a look at what we're doing for research, and also to come away from with a very solid viewpoint on some type of ideas for marketing and hedging this crop, as maybe some ideas on trading as well here. So if you are anywhere near those many locations we just mentioned, take a look at our website, get the details, and give us a call to register. You do not have to be a customer of Allendale in order to get signed up for these meetings here. So we'll get a hold of that schedule there. In terms of other news we can speak of, the other big thing we have going on right now is this whole nationwide producer planning survey. And as we mentioned before, we do this every year. This is a very key component to Allendale's research and also our projection for what USDA will say later on this month. So keep in mind this planning survey is very important, and your input, especially in this type of crazy year we have lined up, is very much needed. As we noted at yesterday's broker meeting, we've got almost 8 million acres sitting out there that are not being going to winter wheat and will not be in CRP this year. That 8 million acres is going to be divided up into corn, soybeans, small grains, cotton, and also you can throw in hay there too if you want to. But the main point is we have a very big argument on what to do with these extra acres this year. We need your input to tell us directly what you feel that you're doing on your operation here. So please get a hold of this survey. You can do it online. That's allendale-inc.com, or give us a call here at Allendale. Our central headquarters is 1-800-262-7538. This is Rich Nelson. Hope you have a good trading day and a good trading week.